right, now we're live. Now say all your horrible things.
Yay. Oh.
Good evening, everyone. How are you doing today?
We've been saying nothing but nice, wholesome things.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice and wholesome.
Very
Yeah.
wholesome.
That doesn't happen here at the Dicejunkies
There's
Studios.
nothing
That's
about
why
it.
I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
No, there was nothing at all about a dumpster full of dead kittens and puppies.
There was
Oh,
not,
really,
no.
man? You
Hashtag
gotta-
PETA.
It's never been said here. We've never talked
Hashtag
about
PETA.
it.
Hashtag why. Hashtag euthanasia.
We have marked this broadcast mature content just to say.
I'm going to be getting very nude soon, so that's
All right, and we'll be leaving soon.
I haven't had one of those
But
competitions
you'll
in a
be
while.
watching, so that's good.
But anyway, no, we have Chris Moore. He is a director of Triggered,
Yes.
which is what a slasher horror.
Yeah, it's like it's a horror film. It's a slasher film. It's a comedy. It's a satire. It's just everything.
Awesome.
It's
All of the above.
But we're gonna talk more about that a little later. First, I think we're gonna go into the news. Also, I didn't introduce obviously Q, which you all know, and I'm Xenodamus. So blah 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 introductions.
So professional. Don't you? Did you see? You're in a classy show here,
I think
man.
I'm
know.
gonna just walk off. This is it's
Yeah,
too much
yeah.
for me. I can't.
We're classy. We're $5 girls, man. We're in upper class.
Oh.
What? You marked
do you-
mature. We're going there.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, did you catch any good news this week or anything?
Well, I mean, Deadpool came out. I haven't had a chance to see it yet, but apparently it's kicking butt in theaters, especially
yeah.
for a rated R movie.
Mm-hmm.
So looking forward to that. You know,
Yeah.
always top of the line there. I mean, I've been a little bit distracted when my computer decided to like die, and I've been trying to resurrect it, but the goat's blood's not working, so I may have to actually try technical solutions.
Yeah, you
I've
know.
tried the air can and I've tried goat's blood. I don't know what's next. I can't find a virgin. That's dang near
More
impossible.
goat's blood,
That's
man. More
impossible.
goat's blood. And when all else fails, more goat's blood.
Always. That's
Nothing
my
else.
motto.
Nothing else that makes a great Bloody Mary. Is that not how you make Bloody Marys? Have I been doing it wrong?
Maybe I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
Was I supposed to be
Yeah.
using Clamato juice?
But I mean,
think
you're
there was one that I think was goat's blood, but I don't know.
yeah. I mean, you're married to a bartender, or your fiance is a bartender, right? So
yeah.
you should know all these goat's blood drinks, right?
Oh yeah, no, I know a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
He's always talking about this new next drink that he's trying to do, and so he's very creative with that stuff. He's always coming up with some kind of new fun, crazy idea for a cocktail. And
Yeah.
it's just wild.
He's always coming up with new cocktails?
Oh yeah, always,
That's how you keep it fresh.
always, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Never
Always.
boring.
So on that
No.
note, babies with laser eyes. No.
Baby, hi, look at that.
Did you be showing that picture? Because I don't.
What is that?
So Zelda Williams. This is what I saw this weekend, or this past week.
Owls. I like owls.
Yeah, past all the owls. I should have like lined it up with the actual tweets I wanted to, but here you go. So she's been going through Robin Williams, her father's old stuff, like trunks of stuff, and posting a lot of it on Twitter, trying to get people to identify a bunch of it for her.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was cool.
That's
I did
really
not
cool.
realize that Robin Williams was a big Warhammer 40K fan.
Oh,
Go
that's
figure,
cool. Robin
huh?
Williams was amazing, man.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Rest in peace, Rob.
Oh.
Man, we miss you. Everybody else sucks. You
That-
left us with a bunch of bastards.
That one really hurt.
I know,
It still
I know.
hurts.
Oh, I know.
I mean, God.
I mean, anybody names their child Zelda and did that awesome Zelda commercial, I wanted to be his kid. I was like, could you adopt me, Rob? Like, God dang.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I mean, it had
that's
some
so
really
great.
cool. It's sort of a cool inside look at stuff that Robin Williams was interested in.
That's
Big
so
anime
neat.
fan, big Warhammer fan.
That surprises
so.
me. I don't know why, but it just.
I don't know, man. I thought he was pretty cool. You never know who's a closet awesome geek.
Yeah.
Has
is
like
true.
the mad love of all that culture that just doesn't let you know.
Yeah.
Like I hear
That's
Vin
fascinating.
Diesel's a big gamer actually, and I was
I
surprised.
think I could believe that. I don't know why, but he just kind of seems like the type. Because.
Well, I mean, you probably figure he got those muscles from rolling those D20s.
Oh, of course.
I mean video games, man.
No, I mean, I heard he used tabletop as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, that's got so just like in his movies, every character sounds like Vin Diesel. That is awesome. Just like
Wow.
the dwarf says, "I'll take care of this," and then the barmaid goes, "What would you like to drink?" And it's like the same voice throughout all of it. Every character is just Riddick. Every character.
Actually, no. I think it was The Rock who did the tabletop.
The
It was
Rock
Vin
What happens
Diesel.
when I listen to you?
I think it was Vin Diesel Vin Diesel did
Video
a lot of
games.
video games. The Rock was the tabletop.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
They look so similar.
Does Vin Diesel also do?
I just see a bunch of fantasy
wow.
characters with that one eyebrow.
Yeah,
up.
the editor
Yeah.
says that Vin Diesel also does tabletop. So
Okay.
I was
Wow.
wrong but right at the same time.
Because they're very similar.
Okay, we'll let you have that.
Very, very similar.
Everybody knows the Robbie. I can
As
barely
a
tell
as
the
a
difference between
as a white man, I could not say that they are similar.
I'm like, I cannot.
We both qualify on at least one minority scale, so we can say it.
Exactly. They
One
look
of my
the
best
same.
friends
Yeah.
looks exactly the same, you know?
They really do look the same. I don't know. I mean, I think it's more like the shaved head and like the build is like almost exactly the same. So I'm always like, if I saw one from behind, I would definitely think it was.
I'm
the
pretty
other
sure
one.
the Rock has a much wider shoulder.
I think Rock's way
Maybe,
bigger than
yeah.
Ben.
Maybe so.
Well,
Yeah.
I want to see The Rock get back into some action movies, though.
Yeah,
And yes, I'm
What
not
was the
counting
one-
the
not
Expendables.
Jumanji.
I'm not counting the Expendables either.
What
Like
was
a
the,
real action movie.
I think it's out now. Is it Rampage?
A real action movie.
Okay. I haven't seen it, but
I have not seen
Rampage
it, so I
is
don't
technically a video game movie, and what I've heard, it matches
That's
the
right.
quality that can be expected from a video game movie.
oh no,
It's
that's
almost
not
U
good.
Bowl-ish, I've heard.
No,
I'm kidding. It's
Oh,
not
you
that
can't
bad.
get
Wow.
quite that bad.
Wow.
Like he has to work hard to be.
Though it has about that much to do with the real game, because U Bowl basically goes, "What's this game?" And when they try to explain to him, he goes, "I don't care. I'm going to make it up." And then he makes a
Yes.
movie that has nothing to do with the game.
The first one that I saw was, I think it was House of the Dead, which was a game I used to love at the arcade.
Mhm.
And I saw this movie, and I've never been tempted to walk out of anything midway through, but I was like, I don't think it's gonna get better.
I
I
saw
just need to
like
go.
I've saw like almost all the U Bowl movies, and I go to see them because I want to see what he thinks the game was.
Oh, it's
And
fascinating.
I'm like, wow, how did he look at? Did he even look at the cover art? Or did he just guess by the name? It's like I was one of you said, make a game called Dragon Slayer, and
Yeah.
you're like, well, clearly this person like is half dragon and murdered his family. You know, you're like, what? Like
Well, that's a concept.
he doesn't even envision a knight with a sword. He's just
No.
like machine guns and alien dragons from space, right?
It is
Oh.
the weirdest thing. That man, his career is fascinating because he has one. And it's like, how?
Because he can apparently whoop your ass in Celebrity Deathmatch or whatever. Like every
Maybe
fight,
so,
really, he
yeah.
can. He's taken on people in the boxing ring
Fascinating.
and challenged them. And I want to go like, why don't you make movies about that?
Because that would be probably much more interesting.
I want U Bowl to do Punch Out next. There we go.
I would
U Bowl
probably
do
watch
Punch
that.
Out.
I think I would see that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. It'll be about drag racing. You know, it'll
Because
be
you're
awesome.
like, just because. I mean, there's.
Little Mac is a race car driver.
So the only other thing that I saw in the news this week was some of the renewals and things that didn't get renewed. Gotham has been renewed for a new season.
The final season.
The final
Yeah.
season. One of my favorite shows, Lucifer, did not get renewed.
I heard about that. Yeah.
I was very disappointed. I was
Not a
okay.
drama guy.
Here's the thing that pissed me off about Lucifer not getting renewed was Lethal Weapon got renewed,
I don't.
and they even
Jamie
they
Foxx,
killed
man.
they killed Riggs off,
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
and they still renewed the season.
Well,
They left it at a cliffhanger, but they fired him, so he's not
Yeah.
going to be back.
The actor was fired because apparently he's a huge douchebag.
Oh, I heard about that. He was like
Yeah.
an ass,
Yeah.
man. Like he did not get along with anybody.
So
Exactly.
they fire the main character,
But I mean,
and
that's
then they're
Riggs.
still going to
Yeah.
come back
Well,
with a new
that's
season.
That's
probably
Riggs,
why
right.
he was good in the.
So, like
the
I'm
role.
playing an asshole. Like, no, you're just being yourself,
Just
but it
yourself.
works.
But you're terrific. So
It's like
Keep it
Vincent
up.
Price. You remember Vincent Price?
I love
Vincent Price
Vincent Price.
played Vincent Price in every movie he was in.
Yeah.
And that was amazing.
he
You
was
you
always
wanted him
very much like, "Hello, darling.
Yes, I am
I'm Vincent Price." We're going to have a spooky good time. Yeah, and you loved that because you came in and you expected that.
To the point that I think in several movies they just called him Vincent. They didn't even bother.
Yeah,
It's like, you know
who
what? You're
cares?
just Vincent. We're going to
cares?
call you. What's your last name? We'll call you a different last name, but you're Vincent. We're going to be lazy. I'm Vincent Stevens, Vincent Smith.
Just be ghoulish and classy, and you're good to go. You know, it's
What you
perfect.
paid for. I'll go see any Vincent Price movie.
Oh, I totally would. If only he was still alive. Damn it. Had to lose him, but we still have him.
I don't know. Who knows what they would have dragged, at this point. They're attacking all of our old stars.
God, yeah, I don't know how that
Vincent Price once pinched a girl's cheek. He's a monster.
True, being
movies.
one of the older actors, it's almost a benefit to be dead because otherwise your name is getting dragged through the coals right now because of something you did, 50 years ago.
It's insane.
I'm like, have you heard? Oh my God, all the old actors apparently used to hug women and kiss them on the cheek. As if that was.
Oh, yes. I mean,
how dare they use those standards that were normal back then? Back then.
In that time, things were very, very different.
Yeah.
And I think we've lost as a society the ability to say, oh, that's of its time. That's not now.
Well, the thing is the problem
so
is because they attack things that was of a time or wasn't that serious, it does make the ones that are serious and that are really bad, it makes light of them because you're trying to tag people for all kinds of other crap.
When you overdo it, you make people not take the real issue seriously because you're so busy nitpicking over. Like, okay, when you're on a good fight the good fight, but don't bully.
Thank you.
There's a good way to put. Don't bully.
Yeah.
Don't go to the point you decided. You know what? All men are bad, so we're just gonna jump the whole dang clique.
It's like what? I like to think I'm okay.
Well, that's
Even ones that are dead.
that was all.
They have gone after some of the dead ones. Woodenby is right. Like they have tried to go after some of the dead people.
They really have. But the fascinating thing was, I remember hearing a rumor, and this is just a rumor. It's alleged that Kirk Douglas apparently raped Natalie Wood years ago, and yet on the Oscars he was wheeled out there, and everyone was like, icon, and I'm like, have we forgotten that he apparently did this stuff? I mean, it's alleged, but I think I've heard it so much that it almost has to be true.
Well, that's where things get odd, because that's the thing. It's like when we say of the times, we're not saying that a horrible crime is. We're talking about the things that weren't. Okay, like for example, walking up and giving a woman a hug and a kiss used to be common.
Yeah,
that's not victimization back in that time because it was a social norm across the board.
Right.
Now, touching somebody inappropriately or raping somebody was bad no matter what time because it's always been illegal. It's always been illegal. But like, for example,
well, it's mostly mannerisms and social etiquette has changed across the times. Yeah. I mean, everything that's illegal now was pretty much illegal back then, know. Yeah.
So we're not referring to things that were clearly legal, but like certain social things were not a big deal.
Oh no.
And I know this because I've talked to an older woman, a generation before me, and she said, well, like a guy like taking a hug and trying to giving a hug and maybe giving too close a hug was not that unusual. And if she didn't like it, she told her to stop, and that was it. But she said she didn't feel victimized because it wasn't like at that time that was unusual. Right. It's like that's the way people she said she'd be with her husband and meet one of his friends and he kissed her on the cheek or give a peck. That was common.
Yeah.
So we got Chris Moore, director of Triggered here. I don't think we got any more news or anything that happened this week. Do you have anything that you saw happen this week that you'd like to talk about, Chris?
Well, I guess locally there was that girl that was tragically killed in that pothole thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, I can't believe it. But I mean Jackson with their damn potholes. I mean, really.
Yeah, this is something we live with as a norm here in Jackson.
Yeah,
I've had 3 bent rims, man. It's that bad, and I've had literally the rims just cave in.
Me too. Yeah, it was last spring. I was driving to I think it was one of the television studios to promote a show. And there was this pothole that came out of nowhere. It was huge. And my car just went, every single tire for the most part just exploded. I mean, it was horrible. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was
Which
horrible.
luckily our local Jackson Free Press is getting people to take pictures of potholes and
Yeah.
actually trying to make basically a dossier of
Yeah.
all the outrageous holes of Jackson. So
'cause they're
you know,
everywhere.
but
You mean the local Jackson Free Press that featured Reality Breached with Sergio Lugo? Name drop.
yeah. Anyway, so you've got a movie coming up, man. How is that doing? Like how do you feel about that?
Well, I'm excited. Not too many people have seen it yet, so I'm still sort of waiting for an actual legitimate response. But because I've had some responses that were not legitimate.
Yeah, I mean we have only seen the trailer. So
Okay, good.
And some people already have opinions just from the
They
trailer.
have big opinions, loud opinions, fascinating ones. But yeah, it's the story of a young girl who is who sort of attaches herself to what's kind of hip. She will attach herself to certain causes and just become really gung ho to the point where it's like she doesn't really make any sense. So like she'll say, a girl who's wearing chopsticks in her hair is cultural appropriating people who are Asian. It's ridiculous things, that make absolutely no sense. And so eventually there's this killer in her hometown, and she decides after a certain set of circumstances that she's going to fake an attack by the killer to give her own self some attention to her and her causes. And it sort of backfires when the real killer gets pissed and goes after her for lying.
Yeah.
So then it becomes really, really fun, where it's her trying to stick to her story, but at the same time she's sort of running for her life, and it's very, very fun. It's very tongue-in-cheek and goofy, and I just think it's going to be a blast. So
yeah, no,
I'm
I
excited
mean,
for it.
so we were actually on. I was on Facebook, and you have the movie page up on Facebook,
Right? Yes.
And so I looked at some of the reviews because I was like, wow, this thing already has reviews and nobody's seen it.
Yeah, they're not actually reviews in the real sense. I made the mistake of allowing them on there, thinking that when the film was actually released or played in festivals, if someone liked it or even if they didn't, they would leave one. And we had just wrapped the shoot in October. We did go back in March and do some reshoots for about 3 days, which was like nothing. But it was right after we had wrapped, and we released a picture of one of the actors on a website.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden we got a friend of mine sent me a message, I think it was on Facebook, and was like, you have to check this out. People on Tumbler hate you so much. And I was like, for what? I was like, what have I done? And I went to this link, and it was like 6,000 likes and reposts and comments about the film that, of course, no one had seen.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't even complete yet. And it was just like, of all the Chris's in the world, this Chris is clearly the worst. I'm like, what does that even mean? I didn't know that Chris's were like apparently bad.
Yeah.
And the best one though was Chris more like Chris less. I was like, okay, that's just that's hilarious. And just going on and on about like the film, and I think it was the subject. They thought, I guess maybe they still do think that I'm gonna in some way insult them, but it's like, who am I really insulting? It's like I don't really get it.
I mean, you can tell me if I was wrong. I mean, I looked at the trailer, and to me, it looked like you were sort of hitting extremes on both sides
extreme,
to do comedy.
It's so extreme because we do make fun of those sort of Tumblr, Twitter types that are so like, oh my God, this person is a person of color, and this person who is white did not make eye contact with them. Clearly, they are racist. It's like, what?
I felt it almost like that, like that South Park humor. You know,
yes,
where you make fun of everybody.
Extreme. And then we also have people who, after a certain character in the film is killed, I won't give that away just yet, but they're on the news, and it's I think it's a school librarian who's like, this is what happens when you take God out of the schools. You know, if they had a gun, it would have been totally fine. They wouldn't be dead. It's just like this very over the top religious right thing. So we make fun of them all.
Well, you know, you pull the church lady like, well, isn't that special? You know, but that's a caricature.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. When I saw it, I knew some people were going to be upset, but that's because that's how bad the culture's gotten.
It's gotten to that point.
Normally, if you did an extreme caricature, nobody would associate with it because it was obvious it's extreme. But there are people that are literally that bad.
Yes.
That know, they're like, well, I act like that, and it's like, Jesus Christ, you do. We were joking. Like,
it's like, how is this even real? But it's true though. I have met, I would say maybe a handful of people who are a lot like the lead in this film, who are so extreme. And I did show the film to an actual self-admitted social justice warrior, as they like to be called. And they were like, this is hilarious. Like, this is clearly so extreme.
Yeah.
And so I think now, if they were fine with the film, then everyone else should be fine too. Because it's not, I'm not punching down at anyone's, race or sexual orientation or gender identity. We don't make fun of that. We make fun of one particular person who is just totally warped.
And if you watch this trailer, her levels of extreme are obviously literally contradictory to the point that it's like, how could you not see that? She actually at one point is basically almost racist to the black person about calling her racist.
Yes, exactly.
And you're like, did you not see that she's being racist while she's going so?
Exactly.
But I mean, we actually do see that in reality. But the thing is, the extreme is such a minute number, and even though the extreme,
but they're vocal.
Oh, they're so loud.
Even though the extreme exists, I think it's okay to make fun of extreme.
I mean, because when it's so extreme, all you can do is laugh because you can't take them seriously.
Which they don't realize is the flaw. We're trying to help them. When we point out your extremes, we go, you're so extreme that no one's listening to what you're saying.
That's the thing.
Which of course leads to you faking an attempted murder.
Of course.
This is the point of the movie.
Of course, I mean, because I wouldn't put it
triggered name drop.
Yeah.
But triggered roll credits. I can't remember. I don't even know who I stole that from, but I stole that from someone on YouTube. Oh wait, everything wrong with this? Yeah, there we go. But it's going to be an awesome movie. I think it's got a lot of style. I believe that people that can watch it and get the point. There's even a little bit of some possibility to learn something if you open your eyes and go, maybe there's a point that you go past the point of anyone listening to you anymore.
Exactly, and that's what I was trying to get across, because the character
What'd I do?
is...
nothing. You just kept pegging out our audio because you were getting excited there, and so I was having to adjust you. Yeah, no.
It's like I care.
Yeah.
All right, I'll stop caring.
I'm glad you care. But there's a lot of hypocrisy in the film. Like there's this one particular part where her best
spoilers.
Friend, it's not too much of a
like spoilers.
Spoiler. But her best friend comes in and he's like, we need to talk, and she's like, can this wait, because I'm doing this blog about this so-called Mexican restaurant that is run by white folks. And he's like, well, I don't see you pointing out like cultural appropriation when you go to Taco Bell at like 3 a.m. Like, that's clearly not run by actual Mexican people. So it's like there's all this hypocrisy that she has, which makes her very interesting. Because her character, you'll kind of get the impression that she's always had something to kind of latch on to. Because at one point her friend does sort of like say, is this something that you actually believe in, or is it like that time that you pretended that you were like British for a few months because this is her thing.
Yeah.
There's always something new. You know?
Well, that was a thing for a while.
Yes,
So.
I mean she's very.
Cheerio, chop.
I get the impression that if we had seen her 2-3 years ago, she would have had something else that she didn't really believe in that much, but she was trying to be special, and that's kind of what it's really about. Is there's this desperate need to feel as if you are special and that you have something to offer. And can
I drop the trigger word? Can I drop snowflake?
Yeah,
can I drop snowflakes?
Put it in there.
Special snowflake.
There is a mention in there. There is a mention. She's called that I think once.
How dare they?
I know they're gonna get so mad.
Social appropriation of snowmen, man.
Well, I mean, I saw one review was like, you just don't understand the real meaning of triggered. Like you should Google triggered and find the origins of. And I was like, I thought the origins were just people annoyed with people getting.
I mean, technically, the origins, it refers to an event that occurs because of a certain reaction to a stimulus. Exactly. If you wish to go to Googling it, you idiot. Yeah. Oh, God, I said the word idiot. Is that allowed anymore?
I don't think it
say
is.
mentally deficient.
I mean, we're using, triggered is being used as the slang in this point anyway.
Well, I do have I have a theory that if the film was called anything else, they wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. They would not care. This wouldn't have even been on their radar. But because it's called Triggered,
SJW would have been a great title.
Well, yeah. Now that would have really gotten them mad. Really.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think, like, from the tone of it, I was waiting for people to start calling you a racist, homophobic.
That would have been interesting.
They believe that I am like a 65-year-old like Trump head. I'm like, I'm really not. And
you may want to go check my profile. Go check my Facebook page. You might be shocked.
You do some research and then come back. Yeah, and they won't believe me.
That's just some more of that male-centric, misogynistic, and you're like
what? I'm like, most of this cast is female, and there's not a sexist portrayal of anyone in this film. In fact, they carry the entire film.
Well, she does have a nice cut on her shirt in a couple of shots, man.
Well,
I mean, that was awesome. She's not wearing a bra. I get why you did the no bra thing. All right, I get it. That's awesome.
She's
why?
That's my favorite part of feminism is the no bra thing. That's awesome. You're right. Burn your bras.
They still do that.
Burn your top also.
Well, I think the main actress we've actually met before, so
you might have. Yeah, she's done a lot of movies around here. She was in my last stage production that I produced.
Well, we were friends with another Chris that is a director, Chris Kofsky.
Yes.
And
he was in a lot of his films.
She was in some of his stuff, and we went to the premiere he had in Tennessee. Oh, wow. And I think she was there with the main actor. So
awesome.
Yeah, no, she's amazing.
But yeah, she seemed to be a really nice person.
She is actually what the character thinks she is, because she's actually very much about feminism and social justice, but she does it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
She doesn't eat our own in the sense of, that's, I think, the main problem with people like the lead character is that they come after allies, which I think defeats the purpose completely.
Well, no, and that's the thing. I mean, all of us have our interests. I mean, like me and Q, I mean, we're geeks. We like gaming. We like anime. We're like that. Yeah. But we're not going and trying to force anime on anybody or anything like that. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's great to have your interests. It's great to have interests that differ from other people.
Very much so, yeah.
And hey, talk about it. That's what we do on this show. We talk about our interests, but we're not doing it in a way that we're shaming anybody who doesn't have the same interests as us. And that's where the problem comes in.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And you don't want to alienate your own team, like you said. That which is what I've seen. I've seen like people actually attacking. They pull the holier than thou, what I call it. Because at first it used to exist in Christianity. I'm a Christian, and a big thing I used to see is people going, "Well, you're not as Christian as me," and they attack their own fellow Christians and go, "Well, you're not as religious as I am. You don't go to church and give as much money as I do." And now there's a social movement where it's like, well, I'm more just than you are.
Yes.
You know, and you're like, you're
trying to prove, like, I am the cleanest, the holiest, the most special, the best. I am such a good person. I'm a better person than all of you.
Yeah. So it's an interesting mentality. It's an interesting mentality of, I'm the best person here. I am naturally superior to all. I'm like, wow, that's a hypocrisy of the greatest four.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh no, well, I'm not social justice though. I just am better than everyone.
Yeah, we don't claim.
But it's not due to race or gender. It's because I'm me.
Yeah, we don't claim to be nice, unhateful, or inclusive.
Like, I would never believe my race or gender makes me better. I believe just being you makes me better.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, and what's so funny is that they hate the far right so much, which they have a great reason to because they're insane. But with the way they behave, they're just as bad now.
Well, yeah, and that's like when we talk bad about.
What's our motto? Extremes are bad.
Yeah, we talk bad about far right. We talk bad about far left.
Our opinion is extremes are bad.
Yeah, anybody. I mean, it's just like it. I mean, once again, this is sort of a geek show. I mean, it's like when I go on the comic book and there's that extreme, Star Trek nerd that just won't shut up about Star Trek.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like him either, because
no, and he hates Star Wars just because he thinks that Star Trek and Star Wars are enemies, and I'm like, not really. They've got nothing in common, dang near, except space. That's like the only thing.
The word in the title. That's literally it.
But no, we're not a fan.
It's like one has magic space knights with laser swords, and the other one uses science, but crazy pseudoscience. But Star Wars has as much to do with science as friggin' Harry Potter has to do with science. So why do you even make a comparison?
Yeah, it's idiotic. It makes no sense to me.
Now I hear you're also a gamer, right? I mean, you.
I'm not too much of one. I used to be more of one when I was a kid. And I would play, for some reason, I would just always play the dumbest games, though. I would play, like, James Bond games and, like, just these...
GoldenEye?
Yes.
That game is one of the most popular shooters in history.
Yes. It was
You're right, you're not a gamer.
Exactly.
Okay. I played GoldenEye. I was weird.
I played Frog.
Frogger was awesome.
Zelda.
Well, no, see,
Zelda was the shit.
Yeah, no, Zelda was awesome.
Game.
Ever mess up? Oh, yeah? Guess what? I made the mistake. I started the game and named my character Zelda. Now, to the real geeks out there, they know what they did. I thought this game was a nightmare game that made no sense. And I later found out, like, apparently putting your name into Zelda, like, did the Japanese hard mode version, switch all the dungeons around.
No.
So I've actually never played it correctly. I've only played it on that mode. I don't know the normal way to play it.
It was punishment for you not realizing that the main character's name
was
is
Link.
not Zelda.
Yeah. Did it say it anywhere though? I didn't have the book. Okay, like.
Oh my God. I did play one that was on my computer. It was Alice, I think it was called, and it was kind of like Alice in Wonderland, but it was like really dark.
Yeah.
That was
a good one.
And I think I always died because I would fall into like a pit of acid. I think it was very weird. I was like, "Damn it, I'm in the acid again. I can't get out."
So you played some good games though. That's a good gaming history to quote when you go Zelda, GoldenEye, like Frogger. I was like, that's a good history.
I like my Zelda.
You didn't pop off like all the like Japanese only games. You didn't get into like I played Secret of Evermore and like only a handful of people know what I'm talking about when I said that.
I played Secret of Evermore.
Of course you did. You're a hardcore RPGer, but I played Final Fantasy IV. By that I mean the Japanese Final Fantasy IV. It was US 2.
I definitely played a Final Fantasy at some point in my life at someone's house.
Hopefully it was 4.
It might have been. It seemed like it would have been 4. But
was it good?
I remember it being fun. Yeah.
Then it was 4,
Okay.
or 6, but it was not 2 or 3 or 5.
Oh, but the worst one I remember, I rented it at Blockbuster. It was
that is terrible.
South Park game where like you just like throw snowballs at like.
Oh, that was a terrible game.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I was like, is this really a game?
That was a long time before Stick of Truth, man. That was a long time.
It was a bit. I mean, this was like 99.
Hey, you could throw yellow. Remember the zipping sound and you throw the yellow snowball?
Yeah,
I remember that game, dude.
Yeah, it was
Didn't have like
ridiculous.
several little mini games. Like
And I think you had the cow gun
Yeah.
you could get where the cow would basically like
Maybe so,
rectal.
yeah. God, it's been so long. God, that was 99, 2000. So that's almost 20 years ago, you guys. That freaks me out.
We don't talk about age here, man.
I'm old. We all know it. I don't.
Not good. No, I'm very, very fresh.
Pitfall, brother. Pitfall. I go back to Pitfall.
Oh, I used to play Pitfall, man. And Cubert.
Oh, Cubert was so awesome, dude. He's like,
Oh my gosh.
the greatest OCD game ever. It's like, no, all the squares must be the same color.
Adventure.
Oh, man. Well, you know, the Easter egg, the first Easter egg. It's a shame when I was reading Ready Player One and I knew everything. And I was like,
Oh, I still
because they were talking like all this retro stuff. And I was like, how old am I? Like,
the movie was not bad. The book, though, is 100 times better.
The movie was for, well, that's because of our age. The movie was for this generation.
Yeah.
And the book was for us old dogs who remember, like, that old stuff. Us to, like, get all the references.
Well, that's the sad part is that I think I'm technically a millennial. I think. And yet I don't have much in common with my group. Because I used to watch very like much older films as a kid, movies that my friends would be like, I don't know what the hell that is, and I'd be like, I'm sorry you suck at life, but that's cool. So like it's not that I don't see newer films because I do, but I really feel like the 70s and the 80s especially was such a great time for films that. They can't really compare to the ones now. It's.
Dude, I'm an old schooler from Texas. I mean, I was born in Texas, and Texas used to have the worst TV ever. So the only thing that came on was westerns and old kung fu movies.
Oh,
and to this day, the new kung fu movies don't beat the old bad dub kung fu movies.
Oh, yeah.
Wu-Tang, Shaw Brothers. Oh,
they had charm. There's just a charm about it.
Gordon Liu. I mean, those old Jackie Chan. Because Jackie Chan's old as dirt. People don't know how long he's been doing this. He dates back to bad dub kung fu movies, man. And I love those movies. To this day, I still will go look up a bunch of the old kung fu movies.
Oh, they're fun.
Yeah. So what about comics? You ever get into comics?
Comics? Oh, well, I mean, to me, my gold standard was always Joan Rivers. I felt like she was just.
She had a comic?
So he went comedian.
Oh, comedians.
Oh,
okay. That's where I went to.
Yeah, I was curious about this Joan Rivers comic. I was like,
that would be amazing, though.
That would be interesting.
That couldn't have been sold to kids because I love the way she talks, but it's not appropriate for children.
Okay. Idiot right here. Okay. No. Now comics. Yeah, I remember. I was big on the EC Tales from the Crypt. Vault of Horror, that kind of stuff. Because I love how almost every story kind of ends with like a sort of like really delicious sort of like just desserts where it's like this person who just really kind of just sucks at life, just gets what's coming to them. It's delicious. I just love that.
And a terrible pun from the Crypt Keeper.
There's always
just a horrible pun. Like
I love the bad puns.
Robot Chicken is awesome because they make so much fun of those bad puns. They've had the Crypt Keeper on there a lot.
I'm obsessed with those. Those are so fun to me. They're just so bad.
The Robot Chicken or the Creep Tales from the Crypt, I mean.
The Tales from the Crypt, it just because I think I saw the TV show first, and then I was like, oh, so these are actually based on real comics. So I actually found some, and oh god, they were just.
I love that intro. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh yeah, oh it's so fun, and then he just pops out, and I
Tales
was
from the
terrified
Crypt.
of him as a kid
Oh,
because
man.
that show was on
Evil Muppet.
HBO when I was like a tiny little kid, and I remember I was so scared, and my dad sold Tales from the Crypt trading cards. I don't know why.
There were cards?
Yeah, because he worked for M&M Mars, so he always had candy and trading cards. Like it was like Tales from the Crypt ones, the Muppets were one. It was like all these random trading cards, and so I was always terrified.
Now I'm gonna date myself again because some of my old classes, we're going back to old horror, Outer Limits and the Twilight Zone.
Some of the best writing ever on TV.
So much effort. There was one. Dave had one that was like about a trial, and it was so freaking surreal and creepy.
Oh, yeah,
And I can't remember all the details, but I just remember that I was sitting there just like riveted, looking at the screen, like just like,
good.
what's gonna happen next? And when it comes to evil children, I'm sorry. While Stephen King did pretty good with the Shining, Twilight Zone and like the evil kids were creepy as heck.
I've always been a big Twilight Zone fan. Just the biggest.
The reboot did not land as well. I hated that. They tried, but the reboot.
There were actually two of them. I think there was one in the 80s, and that one was okay. And then there was one recently. I think it was on like the CW, I think, and that just didn't quite work for me. It just didn't seem.
Yeah. All right. Well, Chris, like after we do this section, we usually roll some dice and do a random encounter section. But before we get into that section, let's end this section with. You have any plugs or anything you wanna present?
Well, come see Triggered on July 12th at 7 p.m. at the Malco Grandview in Madison. Tickets I will be selling on the Triggered page on Facebook, which is www.facebook.com/findyoursafespace. And that link should be live in a few weeks, I think, and it should be great. I'm excited.
Awesome.
So come on out.
So yeah, that's gonna be in Madison in Mississippi. So if you're in the area or you want to travel,
or you want to protest the film, we love that.
Yeah.
Have a little sign,
Whichever one you decide to do, subscribe to Dicejunkies on YouTube.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, and
come yell at us too. We'll be happy for you, as long as you subscribe before you yell at us.
We love the.
And do you have any other things coming up? Like, do you have any future plans for another film?
Well, I'm writing one right now. I'm about halfway through. It's more of a supernatural film. It's kind of like a sort of It Follows meets Final Destination. It's going to be very creepy.
It Follows is a jacked up movie.
It
Follows was jacked up.
So is there a place that people can go to see like your future? Whenever you do come out with something new, do you have like a media page or something like that for your?
I just have a regular old Facebook page, which is pretty easy to find. Just Chris Moore.
Okay.
Very common name, so I don't know. So good luck in trying.
I think when we looked it up, it was like that said something a something media, like you said.
Oh yeah, I'm CWM Entertainment, and we do plays, we do films. So you never know what we're going to be doing next, but I'm excited for. There's a lot of things that are brewing at the moment. So.
Awesome.
So they better follow you so you can keep up, huh?
There you go. So yeah, be sure to follow him.